Would you like to take control of your life? Would you like to change your world and change someone else's world also? You know, what I have found is that we all, when we're young, when we're kids, we've got this great imagination. We can accomplish anything in the whole wide world. We're just so excited. We want to be firemen. We want to be astronauts. We want to be scientists. Whatever it is that we want to accomplish when we're a child, we can do that. One of the sad things that really happens to people, happens to me, happens to probably you, most people out there, is that they get a little older, and as they get a little older, they fall in love. And when we fall in love, we end up getting married, and before we know it, we have children, we have a house, we got a mortgage, and literally what ends up happening is that our imagination, or what we believe that we can do, is robbed from us. We fall into this thing called real life. Real life. You know, real life is you got to get them going to work. Real life is that you got to pay the mortgage. Real life is you got to feed the kids. Real life is you got to take care of your spouse. And that real life actually ends up stealing from us. It ends up stealing what it is that we can accomplish. You know, I'm going to encourage you to become dreamers again, to begin to dream of what you can accomplish. And I tell you for sure, I know that anything that you want to accomplish, that you can accomplish it. All it requires is organized thought. You know, we were very fortunate to be able to hear from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's sort of the grandfather of all self-help books. Over 60 million copies sold. Well, let me tell you what actually happened to Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill, when he was a young man, had an opportunity to interview Andrew Carnegie. In that process of interviewing Andrew Carnegie was in his 60s at that particular time and invites him in. Mr. Hill is going to be doing articles on successful people. It was supposed to be a 3-hour interview and ended up being a 3-day interview. You know, an interesting thing about Andrew Carnegie is that Forbes magazine in February 2008 actually ran an article on him and said that in 2007 dollars, okay, Mr. Andrew Carnegie would have gone from being an employee, an immigrant, okay, working for an hourly wage, to being worth $298.3 billion. $298.3 billion. And Andrew Carnegie had this burning desire, this thing inside of him that he wanted to be able to pass on to you and to me, or what he said, the next generation. He felt as if it was a shame that each generation had to learn the key or the principles of being successful all on their own. He felt as if that if there was a way that he could begin to pass this formula of success from one generation to the next generation, that people could greatly benefit. And so when young Napoleon Hill came in, he threw this challenge down to Napoleon Hill to write this book of what's the principles of being success. Mr. Carnegie said to Napoleon, he said, it's probably going to take you 20 years to do it, but Andrew Carnegie was willing to introduce him to hundreds of the most successful people in all of America for him to be able to write those principles down. Well, Napoleon Hill actually took on that challenge. And so we have passed through to us success principles of hundreds, of over 500 people. By the time the book was written, it was over 500 people. We know the basic formula that they had to go through in order to be successful. And if we will follow some of these basic principles, we can be successful. Anything we want to accomplish. We can go back to our imaginations. We can go back to when we was kids, and we can realize that we can accomplish whatever thing that we want to accomplish. Now, it's very interesting because Napoleon Hill, after he had spent 20 years and interviewed hundreds of people, of the most successful people, his first chapter has 3 words. Okay? That was the title of that chapter. So he begins to introduce all of these years of knowledge, and he starts off with these 3 words. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. That's the title to the very first chapter, and he realizes that thoughts are things. So if you look at the people that have been successful over the years, they want to pass on to you that thoughts are things. That really tells us that if we will take and organize our thoughts, if we'll begin to take the knowledge that we have and we'll begin to organize those thoughts, that they can become things. If you look at the house that you're in right now, wherever you're at, it was a thought in somebody's mind before it became a reality. That computer that you're looking at is a thought before it became a reality. Thoughts are things. And I believe that if you begin to organize your thoughts, if you begin to take control of your brain, that you can literally begin to change all your circumstances, no matter where you're at. You can accomplish anything that you want to do. But you have to be able to take those thoughts and you have to begin to organize them. You've got to begin to be able to break them down. You're going to have to begin to have a systematic approach to be able to do that. I've been blessed. See, this is called a golden die. This is a golden die. This is actually a 7-sided golden die. A lot of people call this a dice. But in reality, it's a 7-sided golden die. 7 sides. You got 6 outsides and 1 what? 1 what? 1 inside. Now, if you got 1 inside and 6 outsides, which side is the most important? It's the 7th side. It's the inside. And in reality, it's the inside of you that's the most important. It's what's on the inside of you. Okay? That is by far more important than anything else. I encourage you to go back and be that dreamer and realize that you can do anything that you want to do. You can accomplish any goal. It is all on the inside of you. It's all in your thoughts. It's all in your organization, but you got to begin to organize those thoughts. Now, this as a tool teaches a lot of different things. One of the things that it teaches is the number 6. We always start off with the number 6. The 6 teaches us just to do our best. You know, if you and I are racing around a board, we got a board game. We're racing around, and we want to get to from where we're starting to the end as quickly as possible. And whoever gets there first wins. Every time we roll this dice, we want to roll number 6 because that means that we would win. And so 6 just reminds us to do our best. You know, our minds work in pictures. We recall things. If I were to say to you, flying elephant, pink flying elephant with big floppy ears, a lot of you would go back and be able to pull into your childhood a cartoon character by the name of Dumbo, okay? Which your mind was able to recall that because your mind works in pictures. The same thing is true with your golden die. And so when you see your golden die, what we want you to begin to do is we want you to begin to picture yourself doing your best. That's what it needs to remember. Now, what are you going to do your best on? It's that one thing. You begin to look at that one thing. Whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is, whatever your vision is, if you look and see what's on the opposite side of the 6, we'll just put it up here for you to see. On the opposite side of the 6 is going to be a number 1. Number 1. And what is number 1 going to teach you? Number 1 is going to teach you the principle of focus. If you begin to focus, if you begin to think about what it is that you want to do, as you begin to focus, you begin to organize your thoughts in that area. And I'll share with you later what 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 does. There's a whole system to begin to organize your thoughts. You can organize your thoughts. I guarantee you that what you dreamed of, whatever your imagination is, you can take and achieve. You know, Napoleon Hill said this. He said, whatever the mind of a man can conceive, it can achieve. And I believe that's true with you. Anything that runs around in this mind of yours, you can accomplish that. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you.